Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Tasha Harris. In recent years, extreme weather events have increased. Hurricanes, floods, heat waves. The impact of climate change has been felt by people all over the world.
We went to New York last winter and it snowed the entire time. This resulted in our flights being cancelled, so we had to stay an extra week. It sounds great, but we were actually pretty miserable.
Last year, our whole street was flooded. We're still repairing some of the damage, and it's absolutely exhausting.
My sister lives in Australia, and her house was damaged in a wildfire. Luckily, they weren't at home, but the damage was so bad that they're desperate to find somewhere else to live.
As these stories become increasingly common, it affects all of us. This is the subject of the book Under the Weather, and its author Joel Jones joins us today from Washington. Hello, Joel.
Hi, Tasha.
So, is climate change affecting the way we feel?
Oh, without a doubt. Weather always impacts mood, but extreme weather can be so devastating that it can influence every aspect of our lives. This has huge consequences for our emotional well-being.
In what way?
Well, severe weather events can be very traumatic. They can lead to feelings of stress and anxiety. Obviously, it's very distressing for those involved, but it has such a domino effect that even people who have never suffered a snowstorm or a hurricane are becoming increasingly pessimistic. In a recent survey, 64% of Americans said they were worried about the climate, with 22% saying they were very worried. And almost everybody agrees there is so little we can do that it's definitely going to cause bigger problems in the future.
But in your book, there are some positives.
Yes, climate change has already resulted in many terrible disasters, but these disasters can lead to acts of extraordinary kindness. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy caused New York to shut down. It was so severe in some areas that people's homes were badly damaged. They had no access to food, clothes, or electricity. But all over the city, people were eager to help. They set up food stalls so people could eat and donated clothes so people stayed dry. And it's not just in this country. In Japan, people came from all over the country to help rebuild affected cities after the 2011 tsunami. And in 2016, in Ecuador, people left their jobs and families to work in emergency camps and hospitals. Of course, these acts of kindness don't solve the problem, but they are so important because they inspire others. They show how people can bring a positive mindset to a negative situation.
But do you think a disaster is needed to make people think this way?
I hope not. It would make such a difference if we could work this way before disaster strikes, rather than afterwards. If we could, I think we'd make big changes happen.
Even on a major issue like climate change?
Absolutely. But also in our everyday life. The weather has such a strong influence on our mood, but that doesn't mean we can't do things to help ourselves.
Let's talk more about that in part 2. Please join us then.